Hello. My story is about my friend Marcus and Tracy. I have been friends with them for about 7 years now. We met when Marcus was my manager at a place called The Loft, which used to be cool. It's a bar that's on Division. I worked there for a couple years, and while I worked with Marcus, I met his girlfriend, who was Tracy. And I ended up also working in another place called The Apartment, which is on Lincoln Avenue. And it's like another bar type club place that used to be really busy. It isn't anymore, but it used to be. So Tracy and I worked together there, and my sister Christina also worked there with us once in a while, which was fun. We became really good friends because we hung out all the time. While people were out getting drunk and spending all their money, we were behind the bar dancing and having fun and making a lot of money. So that was cool. So we remained friends, and I got married in 2004, and Tracy and Marcus were both in our wedding. And then after that, I moved with my husband to California because he was in the Marines and we got stationed there. And I was really sad to be moving. I was sad to be leaving my family and my friends. Even though I knew I was coming back, I was still sad. But I remember Tracy and I, when we were actually getting in the car to leave, was standing in the middle of the street sobbing ridiculously as if I would never see her again. And I talked to her probably 5 minutes later. But we moved to California, and we were a 2-hour time difference. So I used to talk to her on the phone all the time because I was 2 hours before her, and she was always up late with work and whatnot. We talked all the time. So when my husband was deployed in Iraq, Tracy and I used to talk on the phone as if we were hanging out at my house. So we would be watching the same thing on TV, often America's Funniest Home Videos. Who actually watches that show? I don't know, but we did. And we would just laugh. And then you'd realize that we're both on the phone and we aren't saying anything. It's just kind of like we were hanging out, which was comforting to me to have someone who I talked to from home all the time. And as I became friends with people in California, it's almost like Tracy knew them. So even now, when people come to visit, Tracy knows exactly who they are and pretty much all about them, and vice versa. So we moved back here about 2.5 years ago, and it's hard to see a lot of our friends because we have kids now, and once you have kids, you're kind of out of the loop of the cool people. So, and actually they would probably disagree with that because it's not even that they're too cool, it's just they're so busy with work and other things, and we're so busy with, baby and toddler stuff. So it's just different. But Marcus and Tracy have always made time to come over, whether it's just to come over for dinner or they watch the girls for us once in a while. So my daughter Aubrey just adores both of them. So let's see. They have been dating forever. It seems like forever. They've been dating for 7 years now. And unfortunately, everybody always teases them and says, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? When are you getting engaged? So Marcus always says that there's no rush, and Tracy always says, ask him. So, let's see, about a month ago, Marcus calls me, and he's like, listen, I want you to stop making comments about us getting married and me proposing and when's going to happen and whatnot. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't joke about that. And then I realized, I do it all the time. I kind of sneak him in. But he said, I was worried he was really mad at me. And it turned out he said, I got a ring, and it's all under control. Everything's taken care of. He started telling me what his plan was, what he wanted to do, and I was super excited. Super excited because he told me. On the other hand, freaking out. Why would you tell me? I talk to her all the time. I'm going to giggle the second she walks in the door. I was totally freaked out about it. So, anyway, he tells me, now I know. Now I have to try to just keep it on the DL and not say anything. So he tells me what his plan is, and it turned out that her birthday was in July, but she had the flu. And Marcus ended up getting MRSA, which is like a really bad staph infection in his hand, and he needed surgery for it. Gross. So we couldn't celebrate her birthday then. So So he wanted to throw a surprise party for her birthday on her half birthday. Genius. So he said that here's what he did. He arranged a private tour through a friend of theirs who works for the Cubs to go to Wrigley Field and to have their own tour, which wasn't weird for them because they knew this guy and he had offered for them to come and do it, so she wasn't suspecting anything. They get there and they're walking around, looking at the clubhouse and everything on the inside of Wrigley Field, not like the field itself. And they get to the outside, and she just bought this fancy new camera, so she gave her camera to her friend and said, take pictures of us frolicking on the field. So it was all just kind of unfolding perfectly. Meanwhile, we're at a restaurant across the street from Wrigley Field. My sister and Marcus had set it up, invited over 200 people. All of their friends and family were there, and they just thought it was a surprise party for her. Meanwhile, I'm jumping up and down with tears in my eyes with her mother. I just can't even believe it. So we're waiting for them to come over. So as all these people are gathering and thinking it's just her birthday, and they're nonchalantly walking in, and I'm thinking, you people have no idea what's about to happen. They are on the field, and they're walking the bases. And when he got to home plate, he said some adorable spiel about the amazing people that have stood there and how great it is to be there. And he said something about, like, I want to make this our home. And Tracy, being Tracy, said, you want to live on home plate? So it was perfect, just quirky the way that she is. And he took both of her hands, and she said at that moment she absolutely knew, and he got down on one knee. And the whole time, their friend is standing right there with the camera, so he's snapping pictures of this whole thing and folding right before his eyes. And so they get engaged, and we're all over there waiting. Well, since only a couple of us knew that they were actually getting engaged at that time, including my sister and I, we keep looking at each other, and I'm getting tears in my eyes. People probably think I'm crazy because it's her birthday, and it's not even her birthday. It's her half birthday. Who cares? We're just kind of having a party. I'm freaking out. I'm looking at my sister. We're both looking at each other, like we're going to explode. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to freak out here. So I'm standing front and center, right where she's going to walk in. I have my camera ready. I'm looking down. I'm like shaking. I'm looking down so that people don't see my face and think that I'm nuts. She walks in the door, and I have my camera. I'm crying. She walks in, and she puts her hand up, and everyone screams, happy birthday! She puts her hand up, and everybody sees her diamond and freaks out. Well, meanwhile, I've got my camera recording like the good friend I am to have this memory for her, and I'm shaking. I'm shaking so bad, I turn the camera off. So I have her walking in, and that's it. I don't even get her raising her hand. Ridiculous. So hopefully somebody else captured that most important moment of her life at that time, but I missed it. Awesome. So it ended up being a great party, and Marcus pulled the whole thing off, and she was completely surprised, which is good. And now that they've been dating for 7 years, Mark said that he probably gets another 5 years before they actually have to get married. But I had always joked to Tracy that she had to hurry up and get married before I had more kids. I said I wasn't having any more kids until they got married. So now I'm going to pick on them. Say, I don't want my kids to be 10 years apart, so you better get on it. But I'm very excited for them and looking forward to all of the wedding festivities that are going to happen. And we've already been emailing dresses back and forth, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it all, and I'm so happy for them. And she has the most beautiful ring ever, which she deserves. And I'm just excited, and I can't wait for everything. And I'll post pictures soon.